my sisters used to volunteer at hospice. She said that one old woman confessed to her when they were alone together. She confessed that she robbed a house with her boyfriend, and then they set the house on fire with people inside. I don't think she said what happened to the people. My sister was really disturbed by this and asked to not have to go back to that room. She said it was unclear whether the woman had dementia or was just desperate to confess it to someone. Either way, pretty creepy. This happened a few years ago. We had just moved to a new city and I was about 11 at the time. There weren't any bus routes that came near where I lived, so my mom had to pick me up from school every day and take me in the mornings. The place where we lived at the time wasn't the best. I live with my brother now. Things are much safer. We had lots of gang activity, kidnappings, rapes, etc. Our city's majority was also people of color, and I was one of very few white girls. This is relevant because I got a lot of attention for being a petite, white, blonde girl with blue eyes from classmates and adults. Mostly a lot of sexual harassment, but for this specific scenario, my mom didn't want to have to drive all the way to the school to get me. It was too busy with other parents picking up their kids. So she wanted me to walk to a local gas station and wait for her to pick me up there. We did this for a while. One of those days, I was standing out front of the gas station waiting for my mom to come get me. I never really felt safe, so I always stood with my back against the wall and watched the people while they got gas. Most of the time, nobody bothered me. They had places to be. But one time, this adult man walked up to me and asked if I wanted a ride home. I was so surprised and scared that he had even come up to me that I didn't even hear what he said. So I, wanting to be polite, laughed and nodded. Then he looked really pleased and started motioning for me to come with him back to his car. At this point, I realized what he had asked me, and I was getting really nervous because I didn't want to suddenly change my mind and tell him no, but I really didn't want to go with him. He noticed I wasn't following and told me to hurry up and come. I told him that I actually didn't want to and I'd be okay because my mom should be here any minute. Then he started to argue with me and tell me that it was no trouble and that I really should go with him because I'd get home faster. He even tried to tell me that if I went, he'd stop and get me something to eat on the way home. I tried really hard to tell him I didn't want to go, but he just kept insisting, and he was starting to get closer. I didn't know if I should run inside the store or not, but I was too scared to go anywhere. Thankfully, before he could get too close to me, I saw my mom's car parked on the street where she usually waited. I didn't know how long she had been there, but I told him that my mom was here and I ran to her car and got in. I told her what happened, and she told me that it was good that I didn't go with him, and that next time I should go into the store if someone bugs me like that. I remember seeing him get into his van while we were driving away, but I never saw him again. Although, about a week later, a kid from my school got into a van with someone, and they were missing for a few days. When they found them, they had been raped and dumped on the side of the road somewhere. Thankfully alive. All I could think about was it must have been the same guy, and it could have been me. For those of you who frequent this sub, the fight or flight response is one that is discussed frequently. Later, this term was updated to fight, flight, or freeze to better encompass the range of human responses to acute stress. Luckily for me, I have never been a freezer. However, that doesn't mean that I always choose one of the other two responses either. Instead, when I'm under stress, my brain goes into complete overdrive, rapidly throwing up possible solutions for my current problem. The more stressed I am, the faster it ticks. In my first post on this sub, I told of a creepy encounter where I chose flight. In the second, I chose fight. This is the story of when my brain decided on a different direction. It was early evening in the late 2000s. I was in college walking home from class along a busy street in the crappy neighborhood that was all I could afford to live in at the time. Out of nowhere, a car pulls up right next to me and slams on the brakes. "Get in the car," the driver yells out the window at me, immediately aggressive. What? I take in the scene. Old, small, beat-up red car, 4 passengers, all young guys. Relatively fit. I'm badly outnumbered. Not good. The 2 up front are leaning forward in their seats, staring at me. Agitated, most likely on something. I can't see much of the guys in the back, except that they're crammed in there. Front 2 are not wearing seatbelts. Really not good. On top of that, despite other people being around, I'm in a neighborhood in a city where people don't stop to help, don't call the cops, don't get involved when they witness violence or crimes. No one walking past has slowed down or even turned our way. Really, really not good. In the couple of seconds it takes me to soak this in, the driver decides to fill the silence. "Get in the fucking car." I said, "Get in the fucking car now. We're going to a party, and you're coming with us." Even more aggressively than before. Oh boy, there goes my brain. Tick, tick, tick. This tone, this manner, this guy is expecting me to refuse. He's expecting me to get bitchy. It's like he's just waiting for me to escalate the interaction. This was before I was active online. I had never heard of incels or MRAs or any stuff like that. But this guy is acting like a guy who's sick of girls refusing his advances. He has had enough, and this time he is going to put his foot down. My brain is throwing up every possible response I can make, playing out the most likely outcome. Finally, it lands. Though I would not know what it was called until many years later, I had just discovered fawn mode. My face cracks into a huge smile. OMG, that sounds like so much fun. Suddenly, I drop the smile to a look of devastation. Oh no, but I can't today. I've got a dinner with my family. This sucks so much. I would so rather go to a party. But thanks for inviting me. I start slowly walking up the street, not breaking eye contact, smiling and waving. But trying to close the distance I'd have to dash if shit goes down. The car creeps along, keeping pace with me. The driver sighs, "Just get in the car." Far less aggressive. Oh my god, I can't believe this is working. I lean into the dipsy persona I have now adopted. I'd love to. Really, I want to go so much. But my family is waiting for me up the street. But you guys are so nice. I hope you have such a good time. Next time, for sure I'll go. You guys are super fun, right? Yeah, I can tell. The driver's posture is becoming less tense. His grip on the steering wheel is more relaxed. And is that the beginning of a reluctant grin lifting the side of his mouth? He likes the flattery. Damn girl, you might just be able to shit talk your way out of this one yet. Yeah, you guys look super fun. A party with some cute, fun guys? I'm so there. Call me for the next party, yeah? Promise you'll call me. I stick out my pinky and thumb to my head and start nodding at them. You just have to call me, yeah? The passenger starts nodding back first and finally slumps back into his seat. Yeah, I keep chattering. Have so much fun though. Have extra fun for me. I hate that I can't be there, but promise me you'll have a great time and promise you'll call me for the next one. The driver finally leans back in his chair and smiles. Yeah, alright, yeah, next time. And finally drives off. Dozy fuckers seem to have forgotten they don't know me from Eve and don't have my number. I wave at them, wait for them to be out of sight, and finally breathe a sigh of relief. I power walk the last few 100 meters home, go upstairs and tell Matt and Lisa what happened. Probably don't need to mention that living in that city was getting old. This happened a few years ago on Valentine's Day. I'm an artist, and I would sit in front of my opened office window at night while I worked. There was no real reason. I couldn't see out, but I just liked having it open for some reason. This night, I don't think I had the actual window open, just the blinds pulled up. It was around 10 p.m. and someone knocked on my front door. I walked out of my office to the front door, looked through the small window and saw a 20-something-year-old woman looking back at me. She was pretty and didn't look threatening in the least. She looked as if she could have been high, but I'm not 100% sure. She said something like, "Hey, I think I know you." And I said, "No, I don't think you do." We had this exchange a few times before she looked super frustrated and walked to her right, which I found weird because to leave my property, she should have walked straight back down the driveway. Nothing else happened, but I was super creeped out, so I called the police to report the incident, just in case anything else happened to me or anyone else in my neighborhood. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have bothered calling, but like I said, the whole incident creeped me out. I lived in the LA suburbs at the time, and I'm sure they had far more pressing matters to deal with than some girl knocking on a door. I'm assuming that she went by my house and saw me through the opened window, but what her goal was, I can't say. I wish now I would have asked more questions. She sorta resembled one of my more dedicated followers on Instagram at the time, who lived maybe an hour away from me. We never met in person, but we had talked a little bit on there, and she had bought a commission from me sometime earlier. And with this happening on Valentine's Day and my wife not being home at the time, I've always wondered if she was stalking me, but I doubt it. I've also wondered if whoever it was had someone else waiting just out of sight for when I opened the door, which is super scary. I have no idea, but after this, I stopped working with my window opened at night. Hello, chill and thrill seekers. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future videos.